What's up, everybody, man? It's your boy, Mr. Dugas, coming at y'all with another video, man. And tonight, man, I'm going to talk about a couple of NBA games that took place tonight. You had the San Antonio Spurs beating the Toronto Raptors 125 to 107, and Kawhi Leonard's return, first game back in San Antonio since the trade. And you had the Houston Rockets beating the Golden State Warriors 135 to 134 in overtime. Man. First, I'm going to start off with the San Antonio Spurs beating the Toronto Raptors 125 to 107. Of course, everybody knows it was Kawhi Leonard's first game back in San Antonio since basically the debacle with him last season. Is he injured? Is he not injured? You know, his people want him out of there. He want to be out of there. He want to go to LA. He don't want to be part of the organization. You know, Tony Parker throwing him under the bus, saying he wasn't as hurt. And like he had an injury that lasted him way less time to recover than Kawhi's injury did. Basically, what led to him being traded to the Toronto Raptors, him and Danny Green, for DaMar Derouzon and Jacob Palade, however you say his name. And tonight he scored the first basket of the game, had an and one. But after that, he didn't really have that much of an impact on the game. The Spurs, DeMar DeRozan, it was very well publicized that he was very hurt and felt very betrayed by being traded away to the San Antonio Spurs. This is a man that actually had loved the organization of the Toronto Raptors. He loved being there. He played there his whole career. The man was hurt. You know, he was hurt. He was blindsided. And tonight, basically, he played with a lot of emotion, man. His first career triple-double. Shout out to him for that. He balled out tonight. He outplayed Kawhi Leonard tonight, yo. And Spurs jumped out on him early in the second quarter, got out to a big lead, 20-something point lead. They got guys like Forbes who out there hitting jump shots. And you got guys like White out there hitting jump shots. Rudy Gay was playing solid tonight. LaMarcus Aldridge played solid tonight. This team it has a good mixture of young talent as long as older veteran players like LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan and Rudy Gay and those guys, and a bunch of young guys. They also got Patty Mills, a bunch of young guys like Forbes and White. And tonight, I think it was the first game for Lonnie Walker, who got in their first round draft pick from Miami. Spurs look pretty good tonight. You know, the Raptors, they still missing Kyle Lowry out there. He's still suffering with his little back situation. They got, you know, one of the top records in the East right now. I think they're either first or second in the East right now. But tonight wasn't their night. The Spurs fans expectantly booed the crap out of Kawhi Leonard every time he touched the ball. It was crazy. They gave Danny Green a standing ovation, and he did a whole bunch of nothing tonight for the Toronto Raptors. I guess the standing ovation made him feel like playing for the Spurs tonight because he didn't give the Raptors anything tonight. But they're still one of the best teams in the league. And they're still one of the favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference to make it to the NBA Finals. But it was a nice win for the Spurs, a really, really nice win. A very emotional win, especially for DeMar DeRozan. That is just incredible that a guy that's been a perennial all-star finally had not only his first career triple-double, he had his first career double-double in the first half double-double tonight. Shout out to DeMar DeRozan. You know, it's tough whenever you really, really, really want to be somewhere and then you get moved. It got to be a tough thing. We all know it's a business, and we look at these guys like they're robots. They make millions of dollars, basically, so we think they don't have no heart. They don't have no feelings. But it's tough when you just get traded like that, yo. It's tough. When you get traded from somewhere you really sincerely wanted to be at. And he balled out tonight for the Spurs. Shout out to him. It was good to see him ball out tonight. You know, they still got another matchup later this season where he's going to be heading back to Toronto, where I'm expecting him to get an absolute humongous standing ovation from the Raptor Nation up there in Toronto. But shout out to the Spurs with tonight's 125-107 victory. Then you had the big showdown, just the big blockbuster matchup tonight between the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors, which the Houston Rockets get the 135-134 win in overtime. James Harden, yo. James Harden, the MVP himself. Wow, wow, wow. What a show. No Chris Paul. No Eric Gordon. Going up against Steph Curry, who dropped in 33, looking just as good as Steph Curry want to look out there. Shooting that basketball, jumpers going in straight wet. Kevin Durant, 26 points, unguardable, shooting over people basically like they chairs, you know. Klay Thompson with a quiet 26, out there getting out of his shooting slump, knocking them jumpers down. And here you go with James Harden, man. 44 points. 15 assists, 10 rebounds, another 40-point triple-double. And that's not counting the display of difficult shots that he made down the stretch. He had some where he driving to the hole and he's stopping on the dime and stepping back and knocking that thing in. And these shots late in the game, when they was down 3 in regulation, this long 3 that he hit to tie the game up. Then at the end of the game, when Kevin Durant saves the ball, which he clearly was out of bounds. I mean, for crying out loud, it looked like he was so out of bounds, it looked like he had courtside seats. He was so out of bounds when he threw the ball back in, and it ended up in Steph Curry's hands to hit a jumper to give the Warriors a 134-132 lead. Here he comes back. He has Draymond Green and Klay Thompson in his face on the road at Oracle. Like I mentioned, he don't have his running mate Chris Paul out there. He don't have the 6th man of the year Eric Gordon out there. You know, Capela did his thing tonight too, 29 points and 21 rebounds. He did his thing. But besides Capela, it wouldn't really, Austin Rivers had a solid game with 18. But with Draymond Green and Klay Thompson in his face, in his face, he still pulls this thing, man, and knocks it in. Swap. Then he gets up and looked like he trash talked Draymond Green. Then at the end, Durant had to take a tough falling away shot, 3 with 1 second left, which he ain't missing by much, which was crazy, but the Rockets get a big win. They won 6 games in a row. They won 10 out of the last 11 after a very, very slow start to the season. They're starting to look a little bit like last year, They're getting it together. And Harden is looking like like the MVP of the league all over again. He just took this game over, yo. He pulled out his inner Kobe Bryant tonight. He just took this game over, hitting the difficulty of those shots, man. And like I said, you had Steph, Durant, and Klay. They was coming tonight. They was knocking shots down. They was balling. They was hooping. The first half, you had James Looney out there hooping for the Warriors. And for this man to make these shots on the road, what a basketball game, man. First of all, what a game. Not only Harden had a great performance, it was just anybody who's a fan of basketball and stayed up to watch this game was in for a treat. Because what a game it was. And not only was it a great game, you got to see the reigning MVP of the league at playing great. Displaying absolute greatness and clutchness out there. That's just offensive basketball at its finest, yo. Like, what a game, man. What a game, what an ending, what a performance by James Harden. And basically you can see why he not only was the MVP of the league last year, but basically he was the runner-up like a couple of times before that. And it's looking like he's in sole position to make another serious run at the MVP again. I know it's still a lot of basketball left, but my goodness, right now that man is playing some absolute spectacular basketball, yo. But with that being said, man, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Appreciate y'all checking out the video. Go and give me a subscribe. I'm gonna have NBA content, man, throughout the season. Y'all have a blessed one. Let's go Heat.